It's Chiiori! Hello, amazing friends! It's time to play Should You or Should You Not pull on the Inazuma Chronicled Wish banner. I'm your host, Phobius, and I'll be asking you questions about each character featured on Genshin Impact's upcoming Inazuma Chronicled Wish. Answer correctly to prove how knowledgeable you are about building these characters and what level of investment is involved for each one of them. Before we begin the game, a little information about the Inazuma Chronicled Wish. Genshin Impact has pumped out playable characters for 5 years. The game does not lack in a diverse selection of power-packing units for your team. With 101 diverse characters and a draining gacha system, it can be difficult to determine where your pulls should land. Saving primogems takes time. If you want a character now and are without enough intertwined fates, you could find yourself paying upwards of $400 to snag said character. A highly anticipated Inazuma Chronicled Wish banner is slated to drop during the second half of the upcoming 5.6 packs. It features 8 of Inazuma's limited 5 stars, some of whom haven't been featured on a banner in ages. It's tempting to toss your wishes at characters who haven't seen the light of day in over a year. Before emptying your Primo wallet, there are a few things you should consider, because finding satisfaction with playable units isn't always as cut and dry as securing their C0. Oftentimes, it requires more investment to see these units perform at levels you'd expect. The characters featured on this banner are Chiiori, Kamisato Ayaka, Kamisato Ayato, Sangonomiya Kokomi, Yaemiko, Arataki Itto, Yoimiya, and Kaedehara Kazuha. Some of these units are past their prime. New characters have been added to the Genshin roster that far exceed them in utility. Others require a heavy amount of investment to obtain the same damage output as seen in many YouTube videos. That's not to say any of these units are bad or can't achieve great potential. I love all of these units. It is to say that doing so will require further investment. Genshin does not tell you this. If you are pulling for the Inazuma Chronicled banner characters because you've seen whales online doing massive damage, you should know that a C0 unit with a 4-star weapon is not going to achieve those same numbers. Today's game will help you understand the true cost of ownership for the Inazuma Chronicled Wish characters so that you can decide for yourselves whether or not they're worth your dime. That said, the number one thing to consider prior to pulling is that if you love the character, pull the character! Don't allow me to stop you. I've pulled plenty of characters content creators have deemed outdated or underpowered simply for the love of that character. This video is informative and meant for those who want to understand the cost of achieving escalating damage. Contestant number 1, are you ready? Then let's get to it. This character's skill offers off-field geo damage, but is restricted to niche teams prior to attaining their first constellation. Post your guess in the comments. It's Chiiori! Chiiori is a 5-star limited sub-DPS, originally from Inazuma, who now resides in Fontaine. She's a sword-wielding Geo unit with the capacity to supply some gnarly off-field damage. She's cute, she's fashionable, she's fun to play, and does some nice off-field damage. She's also locked to a few niche teams while at Constellation 0. Chiiori's elemental skill offers added Geo damage, but at C0 you'll need a Geo construct present for her to fully utilize it, meaning she's pretty much relegated to Albedo, Zhongli, and Itto. Yes, Ushi does count as a Geo construct. Non-construct Geo DPS units can be used, but their synergy will be limited due to Chiiori being restricted to 1 Tamoto on the field prior to C1. She also has low normal attack multipliers prior to her final constellation, so if you want a DPS Chiiori, you're likely looking at a C6 investment. Chiiori dominates in mono Geo teams and can also add off-field Geo damage to mixed teams. Her elemental burst is high scaling, giving her excellent burst potential. Chiiori scales off both attack and defense, and this split scaling allows for flexible substats on her build. I have Chiiori. I love Chiiori. Just note that she is niche until C1, so prepare for constellations if you intend to utilize her fully. Ready for contestant number 2? I am! This character begins each battle with negative 100% crit rate. Put your guess in the comments. It's Kokomi! Sangonomiya Kokomi is a catalyst-wielding hydro healer and sub-DPS. She has incredibly powerful healing while also offering decent damage output. Her passive, Flawless Strategy explicitly removes all crit rate to favor boosted healing. Most of Kokomi's teams aren't free-to-play friendly. She's relatively easy to build, but you'll need a 5-star cast to accompany her. Then again, some players say she can solo the game. Doesn't require constellations, her signature weapon isn't a must. She begins each battle with negative crit, but that's easy to work around if you're using her as a healer, not your main source of damage. Kokomi is a must-pull for me. I've been in love with her character since I began playing Genshin Impact. If only for sentimentality, I'm pulling for her. There are hydro units that'll offer more robust damage, but she is a good pick for healing and hydro application. Just expect to pay a premium for her teammates. Hello, amazing friends! Phobius here. Today's video is brought to you by my Amazon Influencers Idea List. All the merchandise on this list was purchased and is personally approved by me. If I don't own it, and I don't like it, I won't promote it. There's a myriad of fun and budget-friendly gear and accessories, so if you're looking to treat yourself, might I recommend any of the wonderful Genshin Impact items on my Amazon Ideas list. I don't want to eat up your time with marketing, but these videos do take time, and without income, I have to go back to my desk job. If you enjoy my content, a like, a subscribe, a comment, or better yet, a look at my Genshin Impact gears and goodies Amazon Ideas list goes a long way to keep me publishing new content and making even more content more quickly. Phobius here, saying back to you, Phobius. Thanks, Phobius. Welcome back to Should You or Should You Not Pull on the Inazuma Chronicled Wish. Let's continue. This older brother loves spoiling his little sister and has been described by Yae Miko as puzzling and difficult to predict. It's Ayato! Kamisato Ayato is a hydro, sword-wielding DPS unit. He's extremely versatile towards any hydro-related reaction team comps. Ayato can fill any team that requires a hydro DPS. He does have a high elemental burst cost, and he is considered a jack-of-all-trades, master of none. If you really want to see his damage, you'll need C2, which will bring his Nami-sen stacks up to 5 and ensure he always has that high 50% HP boost for more damage. Ayato works well with both premium teams and free-to-play teams. He's an excellent 4th for wheelchair deployments such as Yelan, Purina, and Escoffier. He won't give you Nouvelle damage, but he will give you solid, reliable damage every time. He's also very mobile-friendly. Release his skill and then hold down the normal attack button. Ayato's signature weapon, Haran Futsukepatsu, does give him a nice elemental damage boost, but it isn't necessary. He works quite well with the black sword. You can drop him into any slot requiring the hydro DPS with minimal investment. Ayato was my first 5-star limited main, and I ran him for a year, and he served me well. Cheers, Ayato. Keep being the king of it all. On the battlefield, this little firecracker takes advantage of her pyro-infused normal attacks from her elemental skill. She's Yoimiya! Yoimiya is a pyro bow user who excels against single-target large bosses and works excellent in mono-pyro teams. Normal attacks are the primary source of Yoimiya's damage, and she specializes in using normal attacks from a distance to deal massive single-target damage against bosses and other elite enemies. She is only single-target focused. She does lack AoE and would struggle against groups of larger enemies. She also must remain stationary as dodging or moving breaks up her normal attack string, which loses a large part of her damage as her largest scaling is on the last part of its combo. If you want to take advantage of her elemental burst effect and attack buffs, you'll need constellations, because at C0, her own bursts and attack buffs do not apply to her. Not only will you require constellations for Yoimiya, but you will also want to pick up her signature weapon, Thundering Pulse. Yoimiya needs this weapon to maximize her damage output. She is considered overshadowed by other Pyro DPS units such as Linny, who comes with a newer, enhanced kit, but she still has the capacity for massive damage, and I see her putting on a show every time she's against a single target, boss, or elite enemy. We interrupt this television program to bring you an important message about Kaedehara Kazuha. Here's my opinion. Kazuha is always worth it. Is he as universally needed as he once was? No. But he's still viable and still very relevant. All the new meta supports to emerge as of late have their jobs to do and they do them well. So let's not compare each one solely against Kazuha in an attempt to debunk his individual worth. No one groups like him, no one shreds and swirls like him. If you are in a heavy AoE situation and need a fast clear, Kazuha. Defense scenario, Kazuha. Regardless of who has 10% more shred or 11% more boost damage, none of that matters if you're spending precious time chasing mobs around a battle zone. Kazuha pulls them all in and slaps them down neatly. He's perfectly fine without constellations and does well enough with an R5 Iron Sting. I use a signature weapon because I both have it and like to be above an 1000 EM threshold. But it isn't necessary. His C2 is nice, but not as needed as it once was. Kazuha will give you outstanding results with a little investment, but will still give you stellar results without. Am I demanding you pull for Kazuha and love him as much as I do? Of course not. All I'm doing here is pointing out his worth. And, in my opinion, a faster clear time is often worth more than an additional 5 to 10% shred. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. I'm sure you all know Yae Miko, a catalyst welding electro sub DPS. Yae Miko is known for offering great off-field electro damage and application, especially on aggravate and quicken teams. Her elemental skill totems have a wide targeting range and may hit any enemies in the vicinity. It also hits foes randomly, which can be an advantageous perk if you're battling against enemies that are spread out. Yae Miko's Elemental Burst has an extremely high energy cost just for extra damage. It also removes the totems, which requires you to set them up again. Setup for placing her elemental skill requires on-field time, which takes away from your main DPS. Unless, of course, Yae Miko is your main DPS. And if you want her to be your main DPS, you'll probably want to go for her Constellation 2, which adds an additional totem to her rotation and makes her damage more efficient. She's big on electro damage but slow to apply it. Yae Miko doesn't necessarily need her signature weapon, as she works rather well with 4-star options such as Wid Sith and Hakushin Ring. Building Yae Miko isn't difficult, as she slots well into many different teams using Golden Troop. If you invest in her, she will do big damage, but she is somewhat slow. Girl has Spark, girl has Riz. Girl always has a spot on my aggravate team. He's our soft-hearted, huggable, buggable idiot with a club. It's Itto! Arataki Itto is a claymore-wielding DPS Geo unit. He's accompanied by Geo Construct Ushi, who offers additional Geo damage during battle. Itto utilizes super stacks to release massive charged damage. He's funny, affable, and the only one brave enough, or dumb enough, to refer to Zhao as
Little dude! Anyone home? Don't worry, little dude. Itto's on the way. Our little dude must be inside then. Little dude!
He's also a completely different playable character when he has his signature weapon. Due to Itto's super stack playstyle, his rotations are somewhat rigid. He also benefits immensely from particular characters such as Goru, so seeing him perform at his finest will require a specific team. Yes, Itto pretty much needs his signature weapon, Redhorn Stone Thresher, to maximize his damage output. While he can be effective with other claymores, Redhorn is significantly better due to its passive abilities that boost his charged attack damage. Itto is my buddy, he's my guy, I absolutely love using him, but I will admit, he is different when he has his preferred team and his preferred weapon. Either way, he's super fun to have around. Arataki Itto, I salute you. Amazing friends, we have one character left and she needs no introduction. She is the queen of freeze, she is the duchess of damage, she is Kamisato Ayaka! Kamisato Ayaka is a 5-star cryo DPS whose weapon of choice is a sword. She sports extremely high scaling on her elemental burst damage, and she utilizes a special sprint that is useful for both combat and overworld exploration. While Ayaka is great for AoE damage, she can be less effective in single-target boss battles compared to other DPS characters. Ayaka's strengths are often tied to freeze compositions, which can be less effective against certain enemy types or when new meta-dominant teams become popular. If you want big numbers, Ayaka is not a cheap date. She's a high-investment character whose best teams are comprised of all 5 stars. She performs her best with Mistsplitter Reforged or Haranfut Sketspatsu, but you can get away with a high refinement black sword. If you want to see her max damage output, you'll need to stick to freeze teams and acquire her constellations. C4 is her best constellation as it applies 40% defense shred, but not entirely necessary if you maintain an all-hydro cryo team with a Scapier. If you do find the time and resources to show Ayaka some love, she will show you impressive damage. And that's the game! Friends, we have been through every round of this game. We've explored every character. We know their strengths and their weaknesses, and we understand how much we need to invest if we want to see substantial damage. Might I remind you that all of these characters are lovely choices at CO. The purpose of this game was to highlight additional investments these characters might need in order for you to see the damage output you see on YouTube. Inazuma characters are my favorite characters. I love them. Please don't egg my house. It's time to tally scores. On the investment scale, Chiiori needs either a certain niche team or constellations to free her up. Prepare for high investment. Kokomi doesn't need much, besides pricey teammates. Low to mid investment. Constellation 2 and weapon if you want to see big numbers. Mid to high investment. C6 requirement and weapon make her a very high investment. He's brilliant right out of the box. No investment. Constellation 2 plus any 4-star weapon. Low to mid investment. Specific teammates and weapon make Arataki Itto a high investment. Want big constellation numbers from Ayaka? You also want high investment. Amazing friends, we did it! I'm so proud of you! How well did you know your Inazuma Limited characters? Were you able to guess? Drop your answer in the comments. Enjoy the game show format? Let me know. I'll gladly do this again. Feel like I'm wrong about one of these characters and what it is they need to attain greatness? Let me know. I always love a good debate. This is Phobius, also known as your 8-Bit Mom, saying thank you for playing Should You or Should You Not Pull on the Inazuma Chronicled Wish banner. I appreciate all of your time and support today. Just viewing my content means the world to me. Play nice, y'all.
Is that little dude called Xiao down there? We gotta help him. Hello? Little dude! Anyone home? Don't worry, little dude. Itto's on the way. Our little dude must be inside then. Little dude! Oh!